she is laying on the ground, passed out, laying on the ground, passed out. And I was like, what the hey? Her shirt was like half up. Like it looked like she was mid getting changed. Her shirt was like half up. And there was some puke on the ground, on her, on somebody's bag. She puked on somebody's bag. Oh my god. It was so bad, so bad. It was awful. And I was like, oh my god. Well, what ended up happening was me and one of the other guys who was in our room, who was also there on the park crawl this night, he basically like dragged her over to her bed, and so that she wasn't laying on the freaking ground. So he dragged her over to her bed. Luckily, she was on a bottom bunk, so that's good. And put her to bed, and then we all went to bed. You guys, the next morning, she woke up. She was like, oh my gosh, I feel disgusting, guys. She's like, is that puke in my hair? Like, what's in my hair? Oh my gosh. And me and the guy were just like looking at each other. We did not tell her. Some maintenance person ended up coming and cleaning up the vomit, so that was good. She was like, oh my gosh, I went to bed in my clothes. It's like, girly, you passed out on the floor. Girly had a little bit too much to drink. Also, do not recommend doing that, especially when you're solo traveling. Do not do that. So, she didn't remember anything, and I never saw her again after that day because she was leaving that day. Yeah, so the girl whose bag that she puked on, that girl was complaining to the hostel staff, and she was like saying how it was the worst hostel experience that she had ever had. She had left the hostel early and went to a different city. She was so grossed out and so like, and honestly, I don't really blame her, because if somebody puked on my backpack, I would, bro, your backpack when you're traveling is everything. Like, you have to clean that. Like, oh my god, that's so nasty. So, yeah, that was that. That was in Nice, France. The next story isn't really a story, it's just kind of like a fun experience that I had. This was back in February. I went to the Dominican Republic with 16 friends. So there were 17 of us in total. 17, 17 of us in total. was so funny. Oh my god. And then like, yeah, and now it's just like a joke. I'm like, oh my god, guys, I want a tuna Sammy. I need to stop saying that word. So yeah, hilarious that the tuna sandwiches was the highlight of the trip for me. But just so much fun. Oh my gosh, the fact that we were able to pull off a trip with 17 people is just bananas. Like, us all being at the airport together, it was just like, how is this even real? How did we do this? And actually, one of the guys who went, his passport was expired. This dumb guy. You guys, if you book a trip, make sure that your passport is valid, okay? Like, so he ended up having to like rush getting it renewed. He had to do some quick pulling some strings, and then he was able to join us on the trip like 2 or 3 days in, which he was very lucky for that. But yeah, that is my time in Dominican it was my third solo trip, so like I knew exactly what I was getting myself into, but I was like, oh my gosh. So I kind of had a garbagey start to my trip, only the first day. I think it also probably had to do with like the jet lag. I was like super tired. I just wanted to lay down and not do anything. But then the next day I felt a lot better. Walked around and then made all those friends. Then everything was sunshine and rainbows. But that can happen sometimes when you're traveling. You kind of are like, I don't want to do this anymore. But then it ends up being okay. It all ends up working out in the end. You might have your low days, but then you have high days that make the low days just not even matter. I'm debating on if, okay, yeah, I'll tell one more story. Trigger warning again for puke. This one has to do with me this time. This is the story of the time that I puked on the hostel floor and then missed my bus the next day. So, this happened in Costa Rica as well. So, last January is when I backpacked Costa Rica, and I started off in a city called Tamarindo. And I was only supposed to be there for 3 nights. I actually ended up having an amazing time because I ran into these 2 girls who I like very briefly know from my hometown, but I don't know them super well, so it was great because we ended up getting really close in those few days. And so on what was supposed to be my last night, we went out, and you know, I guess I went a little too hard, even though I do not recall going that hard, but I guess I did. No, you know what, it's not the fact that I went too hard, it's the fact that I ate after. So actually, one of the girls that I was with, she lost her phone that night. She put it down somewhere and then it was gone, so RIP to that. So she ended up going back to the hostel early. Then the other girl, her and I decided to go get food after we were done at the bar. This was not a good idea. I ate. It was delicious. It was some kind of like a deep fried, I think it was a deep fried burrito, which is called like a chimichanga or something like that. Bro, this thing was delicious. Too delicious because I ate too much of it. I stuffed myself. I took the leftovers back to the hostel because I was gonna eat them the next day, but then I ended up eating those leftovers in my hostel bed because it was just that good apparently, and I just couldn't wait. But that was was supposed to pick me up at 8:40 in the morning. Tell me why. No alarm goes off, and I'm laying down. I wake up and I'm like, oh, what time is it? The time is 8:40 on the dot. Now, if this was a proper scenario, I would have already had my bag fully packed, my clothes laid out, ready to go, so I could have just quickly changed and ran out to catch my shuttle. But I was not prepared enough, and it was just not gonna be possible. The shuttle people, they were calling me. I was trying to hurry, but I was like, there's no freaking hope for this. I'm done. I'm a goner. So after 10 minutes, they ended up texting me saying that they waited 10 minutes, so now they're gonna leave. And yeah, it was unfortunate because I had lost that money, but also I really wanted to get to my next city as well, you know, explore a different part of Costa Rica. But yeah, so then it's funny because all my friends that I had made, they saw me in the morning. They're like, aren't you supposed to be gone? And I was like, about that. So I ended up being able to book a shuttle for the next day. I couldn't get my money back, which was, you know, fair. So I got a shuttle for the next day. And you know, I thought, hey, maybe this is a good thing. Maybe I'm gonna have fun today. Spend another day with the homies that I just met. Let's do it. Well, that wasn't actually the case. The day only proceeded to get worse. So we had decided, let's go on this sunset catamaran. You know, I thought this is gonna be fun. You know, hey, I missed my shuttle, but let's make a good day out of it. So we pay the like $90 fucking for this catamaran, which is worth it because you get dinner and unlimited drinks, and there was swimming and all this super fun stuff. And I thought it was gonna be great. And it was for the first maybe half an hour for me, sitting on the net, drinking some drinks, and then all of a sudden I just feel this horrible seasickness. I guess the hangover was not treating me well this day. I could not do it, you guys. Oh my god, I was so seasick for that entire time. I took a gravel, I immediately puked it up. Oh yeah, sorry, trigger warning again. I immediately puked it up. It was so humbling to puke in a catamaran bathroom that 30 drunk people are using. The floor was wet. The toilets had pee in it. And since it doesn't really flush properly, I had to wipe the sides after I did my thing because I didn't want, because it just, yeah. The very end of the ride, actually, I ended up being able to revive myself a little bit and have a bit of fun. But you guys, that was really, really actually